I believe I took my first cruise when I was 6 weeks old. I don't know, don't remember it, but I was told that when I was 6 weeks old, we went up the Intercoastal Waterway in Florida on a 39-foot ketch that my father had at the time. We actually didn't have a permanent residence until I was 4 years old. We were either at my grandmother's house or on a boat up until then. It started with my father. We did a number of offshore passages, including a couple of transatlantics when I was younger, and we've done a fair amount of racing together as a family. You know, when your father is obsessed with it, it's hard not to be get somewhat involved in it.
We are somewhere in the ocean, off of the East Coast.
Also, we worked on the boats that we owned and ourselves. I mean, we took them to boat yards for big things, but we did most of the maintenance ourselves. Kept me heavily immersed in the field, you know, sailing and working on boats, and I enjoyed both. And I think I worked at two different boat yards before I was independent. The first one, when I was in college, I worked at a place called Crockett Brothers Boat Yard in Oxford, which doesn't exist anymore. It's now owned by the Hinckley Company, the same boat yard. And I worked there off and on for 6 years. When we bought our first house and settled down, it was in St. Michael's as opposed to Oxford. And rather than commuting the 30 or so miles between the two towns, I applied to the only boat yard in St. Michael's and started working there and was there for 20 years. Racing, you know, gets you out there, and the type of boat we have actually lends itself to offshore racing because old boats like that are actually more comfortable and do better offshore. They're not as maneuverable, so the short course racing is a little harder for them. The Bermuda race, the Newport Bermuda race, is a race for larger boats from Newport, Rhode Island to Bermuda, and we start out off a lighthouse outside of Newport and finish off a lighthouse in Bermuda. There are all different sizes of boats that compete in it, and to equalize the different sizes, because sort of in general larger boats are faster than smaller boats. They use a handicapping system that applies a correction to the elapsed time of each boat, and that corrected time determines the overall winner. A modern 40-foot boat, similar in size to Restless, would be, you know, almost twice as fast. I remember racing in Bermuda on the short course races where leg length of the race was only 1.5 miles, and the slow boats would start first, and before we'd finished our first lap, the big boats had lapped us the full, had doubled their distance, and but we ended up beating them on corrected time. So winning was very exciting. We found out the first couple of times we did it that we were pretty good. You know, people say that when you're out on the water and there are two boats sailboats near each other, they're racing because, you know, the person in charge of each one wants to go faster than the other. So it's sort of a natural thing. So, and then once you start doing well, or you know, the adrenaline involved with being in competition, and it just makes you want to go back for more. The thing that worries me most at night is the unknown. You know, when you can't sleep at night, you're trying to solve a problem usually that is in your head, and that varies from night to night.